Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my in-depth contour video using all drugstore products. So I think that's it. I will struggle to say an introduction, but that's all I'm going to be doing. So if you want to see how I got this contoured mug, then please keep watching. Okay, so the foundation and my concealer is on. Thought I had all my drugstore products, went to film, are we zooming or zooming out? Went to film and I did not have a drugstore concealer. So, don't judge me, it's fine, we'll move on, any concealer will do. So, foundation, primer and concealer's on. So what I'm going to use today is, vlogging already, is this Revolution contour palette. So it's Iconic Lights and Contour, maybe a little looks. We're going to do cream and powder. I'm going to be using the LA Girl Pro Conceal. I would class these as drugstore, they're like what, £5 or something? Something like that. And in keeping with drugstore, I thought I would use Real Techniques brushes. I used the Real Techniques foundation brush. Is this a foundation brush? A buffing brush for my foundation. I feel like not a lot of people talk about these brushes anymore. I've bought Real Techniques brushes for years. Like when I first started doing makeup artistry, you couldn't get a lot of American brands here. Was Beauty Bay a thing? Beauty Bay I think was a thing, but there wasn't as much thing, there wasn't as many brands on it. And you couldn't, like your Morphe and all that were really hard to get, shipping was really bad. So now it's a lot easier, but back in the day, it's actually quite hard to get a hold of like your, your like kind of drugstore, like cheaper brushes, like but still good quality. So Real Techniques were probably the cheapest, I think. They probably still are really cheap, to be honest, but they were probably the cheapest ones that you could get. And when you're starting off as a makeup artist, it's quite hard to get a kit together because it's hard, like it's expensive, makeup is expensive, so blah blah, I'm rambling now. So I'm going to be using the blusher brush as my contour, the contour brush as my setting powder highlight. I do it all back to front because it's smaller, like, and I don't wear blush, so. And then I'm going to use the stippling brush. I'm going to do a wee bit of cream highlight going up here. I used this, do it dirty because I already used this all over my face underneath the foundation. If you would like to see how I do that, let me know. But yeah, let's just get into it because I've been rambling now for about 3 minutes and I've not got anything on my face yet. So, concealer's on and I've literally just went under the eyes and in the middle of the face. That's all. Buffed it back in with my foundation brush. So next, before I put any powder on my face at all, I'm going to finish up with my creams. So I'm using this Banny M Liquid Chrome. This is all over my face underneath my foundation. I'm also going to use a little bit for highlight too. So I'm going to use this little stippling brush. I don't even have a baking mirror. I'm going to use this little tiny mirror here. So I'm just literally getting it on at the very edge of the brush. And then I'm going to just tap, tap, tap. So you can see it on there. Hello. So they do the different shades in this, depending on your skin tone. This is the more kind of goldy, light gold one. It's called Beam Me Up. I've been using these for a couple of months and I really, really like them. Oh. There goes my phone. How cute. How nice. Okay, so I don't know how many times I say that. So we're going to go in the Pro Conceal first. This is the shade Toast. And I'm just going to contour the face. The good thing about these is they come with a little applicator, but I feel like they're not exactly a new product anymore. So I like to squeeze some out and then kind of take off the excess in the back of my hand because it's very pigmented. So take off the excess and then we're going to go under here. Under here. Now, so basically, your contour and highlighting is all about sculpting the face. A lot of people get confused and think that it's just called contouring, but the contour is the dark part, the highlighting is the lighter part. So when you're contouring, you're using darker matte colours to create the illusion of shadow. So we're creating depth and shadow in the face. So pretty much all the contour is going to go around the kind of edge of your face. You're going to get that hollow in the cheekbone, around your forehead. You can do the jaw. I don't really, we'll do the jaw today. I don't really like doing the jaw. I don't really like them. I just feel like it's a little bit tricky if you don't blend it properly, then you give yourself a big fab block shadow. Not cute. So yeah, you can totally do that. I'm going to blend this out quickly before it dries in, and I'm just going to use my foundation brush to do so. I need a mirror. Yeah, so I'm going to do this quickly, and then we'll talk you through the nose because that's a whole different ball game, honey. So we're just going to use the foundation brush. I'm going to do the jaw first because the jaw gives me the fear, I'm not going to lie. So we're buffing that in like circular motions. So if you had more of a square jawline, which you didn't like, which I think is really nice, but if you had more of a square jawline when it came out more here, you can actually contour like right on that part that comes out, and then that will just create a little bit of shadow and kind of draw that back in a little bit. So don't highlight it. If you highlight it, it's going to push it out unless you want to. If you contour that, it's going to push it back a little bit. Okay, so then we're going to do jaw. So when you're doing your jaw, it's not your jaw, when you're doing your cheekbone, you can actually roll the brush down to feel the hollow of your cheek, alright? Some people, it just pops right out, mine doesn't, so we're going to blend that right in there. So that is where you would place your contour. Now as you can see, I'm blending this out, I'm getting quite a little bit of movement with it. Do not bring your contour from ear to mouth, because when you start buffing that out, as we've buffed this, we've dragged it down a little bit, you will create a shadow here, which you'll never have. Like, you'll never have a shadow at that part in your face. So that's when it can start to look a little bit mucky, a little bit nasty. So just buffing all this in. And we're going to do powder over this anyway, so don't worry too much about it. I don't know why I wore my freaking hair down today. So we're rubbing it in circular motions and then working it down. So you can see that definition there. You can build it if you want, like by all means you can go back in and build little bits, but always go a little bit smaller to begin with, because you don't want big dark dirty marks down your face. Okay, so when it comes to forehead, I've kind of rushed in and done all this and not talked you through it. So when it comes to forehead, sorry, brush away. If you have a larger forehead, you would contour more and highlight less, because you're trying to kind of draw the forehead in. What's going on with this dude? But if you have a smaller forehead and you don't want it to look bigger, you would highlight more of the forehead and maybe just contour just the sides. Alright, so I mean, I don't really think you'd want to make your forehead look bigger, but I know a lot of people have like really low hairlines and they don't want to make it any smaller. So that's what you would do. So I just kind of bring that into the temples as well. So you can see it's also kind of warmed up the face a little bit as well for us. I don't cream contour every day. I don't really see, I'm just going to set that concealer, I don't really see the point in it. I mean, you can see it, but like you have to set it with powder anyway, so I just kind of feel like if you're going to set it with the powder, just contour with the powder, and it saves so much time. Like if you're going out, yeah, by all means you're going to get pictures too, yeah, like a bride or something like that, like yeah, I would definitely do it, but like personally on me, I don't do it all the time. And sometimes when I'm doing girls' makeups, like if they're really tanned as well, sometimes your cream contour, if they're wanting like full coverage foundation, it can just all start to get a little bit cakey. So sometimes I'll skip it, depends how I'm feeling. But anyway, yeah, that's what I think about that. So that's pretty much the cream contour done. We're going to jump into this little palette now. So as you can see, you've got all your highlighting colours on the top and all your contour shades on the bottom. So you do have more of like a kind of grey tone colour. I know it doesn't look really grey tone, but it'd probably be that one out of all of them. In every contour palette, you always got like a kind of greyer shade. So you've got your warmer shades to kind of warm up the face, obviously, like bronzers, and then those grey tone shades will be more of a shadow. So if you ever see someone's contour, I'm not going to name any names, and it's really dirty looking, like really quite mucky. They've probably just went with that grey shade all over and that's all they've contoured with to create that shadow, but you need warmth to the face as well. So we're going to go in to the actual contour brush from Real Techniques. So in this palette, I don't know if this is going to pick up, I'll do it this way. You have a kind of light white shimmer tone, very like subtle. It's not, I might actually you can kind of see it's not like in your face shimmery. There's more of like a pinky shade, a yellow shade and a kind of peachy shade. It doesn't really pick up great, it might on playback, let's see. You can really see the yellow, yep, so it's more pinky, more yellow, and that is slightly peachy. The peach is great if you've got a lot of kind of bags under your eyes, if you're a bit more kind of sallow, that's going to correct that. The yellow, if you're a bit more tanned, like I know everybody went mad for the banana shades to like do the highlight under your eyes. If you're really pale, the banana shade's going to look awful, it's going to look so bad, so I would recommend going with the pink. But what I normally do is, like one shade doesn't always fit all, so I like mix them. So I'm a little bit more tan today, so what I'm going to do, and I still like it light though, is I'm going to take a little bit of the pink but also go into the yellow as well. A little mix. And we're going to set it under the eyes. Now, I've had my foundation on for a while, talking a lot of crap, so I'm going to go back into my foundation brush and set all those lines. First I'm going to smooth them all out, because I've been talking and moving about, my concealer will really sunk into those lines, which I don't want. So if I put powder on them, it's going to set them all in to the eyes, which is not good. So I'm going to switch to my mirror, and we're just going to start pressing that under the eye. So if you get a lot of creasing in your eyeshadow, put that powder on. Would you believe that someone's cutting their grass? Cutting their fucking grass. Now you can see this is a lot lighter on that side. If it's too light for you, then go more into the yellow. Like, it's personal preference, to be honest. Some girls like that under highlight really, really white, some don't. Do what you want. I kind of in the middle. I used to always use the lightest of everything to get the brightest under eye, but sometimes when you go too light, it can make you look quite ashy. So I'm just pressing all that in and really setting under, and I'm kind of bringing it up there as well. So we're setting under the eye and down the nose. Like so. Then we're going to set the forehead. Same little mixture. I'm just kind of going mixing a little bit of the yellow, a little bit of the pink. Set the forehead, and then we're going to say, if you get like, if your foundation ever settles like here, because I mean when you're talking it might, set in there too. If you've got really like deep lines there, I'll blow your face out. And I'm going to set the chin. I like a really matte finish. I feel like I like dewy finishes on other people, but when it's me, I actually can't believe they're cutting fucking grass. Fuck! When I look kind of dewy, I just look sweaty. So it's not for me. Then I want to go under here and set under the contour. Can you actually believe that's happening right now? I really hope the camera doesn't pick it up because it's really loud. I'm going to set under here. Alright, so we're just setting underneath there, so it kind of makes that line pop as well. I mean, you can do the whole baking thing, but I mean, I actually have baking powders here, and they're from Revolution as well. I've used them quite a bit, so I bought the Luxury Powder Banana, and this one just says Baking Finish, or Ghost Finish. So I bought these two, and again, the white's like chalk white, it is actually ghost white, so I mixed them together on a little palette, and you can do the whole baking thing. And what you're doing with the baking is you're putting on the same places, but all you're doing is really packing on the powder and leaving it there loose, and then later on you can go away and wipe it off. I'm not going to bake today because this is not a baking video. So just make sure all of the lighter parts of your face are set. And then we're going to go into contour. For contour, we're going to go back into this palette. Now, the shades in this palette, I used it at the weekend before, are so pigmented. Like, I like dipped in, swoosh, and I was like, oh shit! So, like for such like an inexpensive palette, the pigment's really, really good. So just be aware if you do get this when you're tapping into that, don't be going ham on the brush now. Go really light. I'm going to go into, right, looking at these shadows, that's so dark for me right now, so I'm probably not going to touch that one. I'll probably mix a little bit of these because that's really, really warm, that's a little bit cooler. So I don't want to have like orange contour in my face, so I'm going to mix those two first ones here, and then we'll go in later and deepen with that. So really, like really lightly tapping, I've barely touched it. And then we're going to just go in and set, or put it like hardly anything and you can actually see it. So if you're looking at the difference, like I just find powder's so much better. Powder's a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgiving. Like if you make a mistake, you can always go back in with like a foundation brush and maybe like tone it down a little bit, or your powder brush and like lighten it up a little bit. Once you start caking creams on your face, it can start to look really messy. So you'll notice I'm not bringing the contour right down. My general rule of thumb is not to bring the contour past your kind of eyebrows, eye area, like here. Maybe like your pupil, so there. You want to keep that contour all shadow, like where your shadow would naturally be, so it would be around the edges of your face. You're not going to have a shadow bringing right in here. I mean, once you've blended it in, you can even bring it down a little bit if you wanted to. You can kind of see that there, you can't see it on that side, but just be careful. Like so, and a little bit, so we're going to go around the forehead and get the temples as well. Hey, dirty, my brushes are all dirty. Right, okay, I'm going to take a little Real Techniques powder brush thing, and this is like an Urban Decay double-ended brush from my palette, but what I like about it, it's got a little stubby end and it's got like the thinnest blending brush, so it's quite nice. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the LA Girl Pro, take off quite a lot of excess on it because in real life those contours don't look great. So we're going to take this line from the brow and trace it right down. Now, when you're doing this, completely ignore the shape of your nose. If your nose is a little bit wider at the bottom, don't follow around it, because what you'll actually do is enhance the shape of your nose. So we're going to come down here, pinch that right in. Now I've not powdered my nose at all, I've brung my highlighting shades up to about here, like on the side, but I've not powdered my nose at all, so we're okay to do this. I've kind of done it a little bit back to front, but who cares. So we're just doing like two parallel lines right down the nose, and I'm stopping just before I get to the tip. You can't really see that in camera. Okay, right down there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut it off here. Take some more. I'm going to cut it right off there. Okay, so it's just going to like pinch that because you're creating that illusion of length. You need to cut it off at the bottom. We're then going to take this down the sides of the nose, almost like little L's on your nose. I don't like to connect the line right down because I feel when you draw it right round, it kind of makes your nose look longer. So you can if you want to. I mean, I know plenty of people that do, it looks nice, but personally on me it just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to go in with this little small blending brush and start buffing away. Now when you're buffing this, just buff it in the line, in the direction you've put it on, because you need to keep it quite, let me use this stuffier edge. So blending it in the direction you've applied the contour, because although you want to blend it away, you want to keep it quite concentrated to keep that shadow there. My camera just cut out there and I'm really hoping it got all that, because if it hasn't, I'm going to go crazy. Right, so I'm just taking my concealer on a little flat brush and we're going to just redefine that highlight on the nose. Alright, snatched. And then just, you could use your finger actually. I'm just gonna use this little Real Techniques brush. Okay, so I don't really know if it's that light that you can't see. I can see it in real life, but the camera, when I'm looking at the viewfinder, I can't really see it. What some people do as well, if they have like a bigger nose and really want to snatch in, is take a little bit of concealer and go, so you've got your contour line right here, they go on the opposite side of the contour line. The way you kind of hug up against your cheekbone contour. I hope it makes sense. I feel like I'm rambling because there's so much that you could say on this, but I want to keep it as like in depth but not like overload you full of like shite. So that's the nose there. So we're going to just quickly set that with powder. I'm going to go back into the lighter shades, like the yellowy shades, and we're going to hug right up against that contour there, kind of in like a reverse contour kind of way. Alright, and then for the darker shades, I'm going to really lightly go into that grey toned, and then I'm hitting off the excess and dragging it, just setting those little dark lines and set underneath as well. Okay, so real quick before I go, I'm going to just go back into the grey tone shade here and just deepen the contour. See how that just really deepens that with that shadow shade. So when I get the shadow shade, I literally take it right in here and then buff it out the way. The first place that you put your brush, obviously because there's so much colour on it, will be the darkest. Oh shit. What are you? Oh, fucking raging. Got it. The first place you put your brush will always be the darkest. There's no point in taking contour and starting here and then you've got this big dot of darkness and then you try and buff it back. Always try and use all your powders at the back of your face and blend them down the way. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. You can be really fancy. You can be fancy and do your lips too. So you can go under here and create a little shadow under there, and all that does is give the illusion of your lip being a little bit more like poutier. Alright, I don't know if it's picking up great on that, I can see it here. I'm not going to do more because I look crazy. And then last but not least, you can take your little highlighting shade in the palette, which is this light white one here, and I'm going to go down the nose with this as well. I kind of do a little bit here and then a little bit on the end. Now, not everyone has to contour their nose. I wasn't going to do the nose contour, but I feel as if I can't really do an in-depth contour video and not even mention the nose. If you have a bump in your nose, like there, do not put highlight all the way down it, because what you'll do is you'll bring the bump more forward. So what you would do in that case, let's just zoom you back in. If you had, I'm going to use my little pointer brush here. If you had a bump right here in your nose, what you would do is you would highlight maybe the above it and slightly under it, and you could put the tiniest bit of contour on that bump. So what will happen is the bump will recede back a little bit and the other part of your nose will come forward a little bit. Not that you want your nose to be like forward, but it will give the illusion of that bump not being there. If you take highlighter and go right down your nose, you're only pushing that bump further out. You're drawing attention to it. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. In terms of contour, I think that's probably it. It feels as if it's not been as in-depth, but I feel like people make a bigger thing about what it actually is. It's actually really quite simple, and there's so many different ways to do it and products, but to be honest, like, that was like £8. I actually got it in the sale and it was 3 for 2 as well, so I got it even cheaper. It's literally just all your lighter lighter bits are going to, what was I trying to say? All of your highlighted areas are going to be in the centre of the face where there would naturally be more light, and then your contour areas are going to be kind of round the sides of your face where there would naturally be more shadow. That is it. There is no need to be drawing crazy shapes on your face, triangles under your eyes. Like, all you're doing is wasting product, making your face look cakey, and 9 times out of 10 I can guarantee when people say they struggle with contour, they've tried all that stuff and look at themselves in the mirror and think, I look crazy, and take it all off. So if that made sense, I'm probably going to edit this back and be like, you're rambling a lot of shite, delete that. If that made sense, let me know. If you have any questions about contouring or products or anything in general, just let me know down below. I will be happy to answer them. And I kind of think that's it. That was my in-depth drugstore contour video. I hope you all enjoyed, and let me know down below if there's anything else that you would like to see. I would love it if you give me a little thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks, bye.